what isn't seen is like how much is done that everyone isn't seeing. Like we're not just out asking everyone for stuff all the time. We're all doing a lot, and we're not. What we're asking for isn't like self-serving. You know, it's like we're not asking for money. It's going to like the small group of us. It's serving, like no one sees how many people it serves. Is what I mean. Is like we do consistently ask for so many things and need, because we consistently need it, because the work we do serves such a large group of LGBTQI folks, you know, and like
I mean, in order for Tranzmission Prison Project to continue running, we need the support of our community. I mean, the work that we do has a very high burnout rate. I feel like several of us have had to take weeks off, you know, and kind of take a break from it because it's just so much. So if there's only a handful of people doing this work weekly, then there's a high possibility that the group could eventually fail, and that is leaving a lot of people in prison without that sense of community or support from the outside. And the fact that we're actually the only group like this in the nation who supports specifically LGBTQ folks, it's really crucial that we have a strong community on the outside.
So I think that like what we as a group definitely want to see in the queer community in Asheville is a lot more support and a lot more activism in general.
active support.
Active support. Activism on a consistent, regular basis, not something that just comes up once in a blue moon for certain issues, but something that is solid and like foundational and stays together and keeps doing the work that needs to be done. And like I said before, like the biggest loss that we have in Asheville is people's uninterest or disinterest in taking on pen pals. And I mean, we found with the people that we write in prison that the guards and other prisoners like notice who's getting mail, and that can provide them some level of security from the atrocities of the prison system, as well as provide them friends and like that knowledge of having a community on the outside. But when so few people in Asheville who might be considered part of like the queer community are willing to do that, it becomes kind of disheartening, and I think creates a divide for those of us who work within the prison system.
So, if, I guess...
Do we just sound mean? I mean, I think we're coming across, but it's important.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely, I feel like it hits close to home because we read the letters every single week. We know that there's a community out there that people aren't seeing. Every week when we have a stack full of envelopes and hundreds of dollars worth of books, like we see the community and we deal with it because a lot of people have a vague idea of what we do. They don't really get the letters where they hear about the violence that's happening on the inside, and so I feel like in a lot of ways they're safely passive about their activism with throwing us parties, which is amazing. It's really amazing. We need that money and it's awesome. But I think it's a little bit more difficult for people to take that step forward and to actually interact with somebody who is incarcerated.
Because then it makes it scary, and like one of the privileges we have with not being incarcerated is that we can ignore the fact that people are incarcerated and not see it. But unfortunately, like so much ignoral of that goes on that it erases those people, and there's nothing queer about erasing people's experiences.
I think too, like partially why this like comes off as like us being harsh or like really serious about it is because it's a super loaded thing to talk about community and talk about the work that we do. Yeah, that because there's a constant interaction there's between like us and our community, that like, if we're going to be honest about talking about it, that it doesn't really sound that positive. But it is, like, in a lot of ways, but being realistic about it, it's, all of these factors play into it.
Yeah. And I think it definitely says something about, you know, a community or lack of community in Asheville that one of our main ways of educating people about this has been in an educational institution. It's been in academia. And I mean, although that's amazing and I think that's a great place to start, I feel like there's so much more than, you know, just the university in Asheville, and there's so many people who don't have that privilege to be in school and to, like, hear about this there. So I feel like if we had a more active community that was having conversations with each other, then we can help people understand maybe the work that we do and possibly, like, move that outward into the community.
I feel like with, like, I get frustrated when talking about prison issues with people in Asheville, and like, everyone can agree prisons are wrong and we're against the prison industrial complex, but then I feel like with going any further than that and, like, doing even small things, I feel like I hit a wall after that. You know, I talk to people and it's like, well, it's a given among radical folks that we all think the prison industrial complex is wrong and bad. And then, you know, and, like, I know that the work that we do isn't all that needs to be done, but, like, to just, I feel like sometimes even conversations can't move forward. And this maybe has a relevance. I moved to Asheville a little over a year and a half ago, going on 2 years ago, and I moved here for a number of reasons, but one of them was because I had lived for years in a place that didn't have queers specifically, and cool folks. They were all, like, heterosexual, you know, it'd be like me and two other people were queer, and so I was looking for somewhere that had more radical queers, and ended up in Asheville for a number of reasons, that being one of them, and have found since I've moved here that yes, there are a number of queers here, but that does not equate a queer community. And that's been interesting to find where that feels supportive and good, and where I feel like it really falls short of my desires and expectations.
And there's definitely, like, Asheville is definitely, like, it's an okay place to be gay. It's not, like, totally safe, and it's not totally accepting, but on a general basis, like, we can survive as, like, out in homos, and know that we have folks to back us up. But when it comes to, like, doing that bigger work around the picture, that's where we feel like the queer community is really failed.
So, I guess we're gonna end that here, and hopefully some of the things that we said have been useful. We definitely want to thank our amazing friends and classmates and allies who helped create this Queer Asheville Tumblr, to help create kind of the space that we've been talking about. And I mean, if anything, it's started a dialogue, so thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, don't start that. It's so
I just want to get it in your scarf.
Recording.
Oh my god.
We should add this at the end of the video.
Oh, I got one.
Oh, I had a big one. Ooh, that was such a good one to get in there.
It's really nice.
Oh, I got 3 in at the same time.
This is a really fun game.
I think that it's harder to get them in there.
It feels like little caterpillar or something.